answer is simple. You have to learn everything in the Algebra 2 class in order to understand concepts in financial statistics. And then there's just concepts and statistics taught to do basic research. If you thought you can forget algebra because everything is relative, someone completely misled you. What? Functions, distribution, algebra? You guessed it. You do have to look at all the definitions of all the concepts, of all the key players in order to figure out that PDF and CDFs are functions, and they do provide the same correspondence between f of x and x. In particular, we can use f of x to find y, and similarly we can use inverse of f of x to find x again. So, we live in the 21st century. Let's make sure our very complicated Algebra 2 map coincides with all the ideas in statistics. All functions have input and outputs, and PDFs and CDFs are not exceptions. And by the way, one can find very unique PDFs for each type of data, and then CDFs that follow it as well. So how do we find PDFs? Since all the values have to be between 0 and 1, for y values that correspond for some x values, one have to come up with some way to make sure it all adds up to 1. Resolved an issue, I think, unless you forgot how to integrate. Well, regardless, now we have a criteria for functions that will work in statistics. Your function, once integrated for all its values, will yield a result of 1. This has to be true for PDF to exist. Now, if you ever wondered how do we go from frequencies of event to PDFs, it's a fantastic topic of the discussion, but not today. So, which functions we talked about satisfy the above rule? Lots of them. But let's talk about one in particular, normal distribution. So let's list facts about PDFs about it. And it is not one-to-one, it is symmetric, and it is continuous. Please remember there are discontinuous functions in PDF. So this could get confusing, and some people probably have for different events. It looks like there is an effect of shift left and right to the function based on its mean and variation effects that squeeze together and stretches. More reasons to get confused, but we did note points of confusion, so we will double check our work based on this criterion. Accidentally, this building in San Jose, Puerto Rico is embodying a very symmetric, not continuous function. Yes, one probably value in PDF corresponds to 2 events, where one event will get you only one value for a probability, and if you do have to consider data, it's estimation points and standard deviation that typically for such data. So now we're going to calculate all of these things. Well, the answer is simple. We need to figure out the budget and decide on a tool, calculator table software, mostly because the function itself is relatively complex, exponential function, and don't think it's wise to spend time on complex mental mathematics when you need to make conclusion and use your probability in your writing. So pick a strategy and don't overcomplicate the calculation, and focus on writing, and your statistics will considerably improve.